Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from New Delhi, India, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to New Delhi. I think it wins awards today for the smoggiest city in the world. Even healthy people get sick in this weather. Me and Mara went for a nice japa walk this morning around Connaught Place, and we did fine.
Well, Connaught Place, huh?
Yeah, we didn't get sick. Had a good time. People are trying to sell you stuff and lure you into other markets. Oh, this market is closed. Is it? I was like, I'm from New York. I know you're trying to hustle me somewhere. My hustling radar went off as soon as you said hello.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
As soon as someone says hello to me, I'm like, what do you want? What do you want from me? And then there's a lot of them, and they're trying to lure you to other markets. It's really interesting, and they're slick. I mean, if I wasn't such a New Yorker, intuitive with the hustle, I would be like, these guys are like black belts in hustling. And they're like, hey, Harry Bowl, how are you? What are you doing? What's your name? Where are you from? Great. You love India? Oh, yeah, I love India. What are you looking for? You gave yourself away. What are you looking for? I'm not looking for anything. I'm just going for a walk. Oh, well, you don't have to walk here. This market's closed. Oh, it's okay. I'm not looking for anything. Oh, it's okay. But there's a really cool place. Got you. Over. And then after the ninth person does that, it brings out evil, Raghunath.
Oh, no.
It brings out evil. It's just like, stop trying to take advantage. Then I snap because I want to be nice to people. They're being nice. And they have a long intro to their pitch. And then I realize you're trying to play me. You want to play me?
What you didn't realize was that they pickpocketed your wallet and your iPhone.
What?
And your passport.
How are you doing? Yeah. How are you? I had my white sneakers on, my canvas sneakers, and they were like, the one guy was trying to follow me around to clean my sneakers, which I almost took him up on.
He almost got you.
He almost got me. But I appreciated the work ethic. And another guy volunteered to clean my ears.
Oh, that thing! Don't do that.
Well,
do not do that.
Here's the thing: my ears need a good cleaning.
Yeah, but that's not the way you want to do it.
You don't want to do it like that.
Pierce your eardrum with that thing. It's happened before.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Didn't Radhanath Swami get his ears cleaned in Delhi?
Oh yeah, he did. I think
it's in the book.
Yeah.
But
I think it was like forcefully cleaned one ear and then like hit him up for money to clean the other one or something.
Oh,
right?
That's a good trick. Now you can hear through one. Yes, it's an interesting tactic. Generally, people don't let other people in their ears. I guess it's something that's
maybe
there's no
ear,
personal
nose,
space here. Go right into my ear. What?
Maybe like a professional ear, nose, and throat person, maybe, but not just like a guy on the street in Delhi.
I understand there's no personal space, but it's still my ear.
Out of my ear.
All right, we got questions today, Raghu. We got to get to them. Your banter is lovely, but people need you.
I have earwax issues.
You want to move on to announcements?
No,
Yeah,
I'm serious.
that's really we have
It's a good time for
I really
announcements.
do. I'm just sharing some intimate part of my life. I thought it'd make us closer.
a little
Christopher.
protect
too
your
in
hearing,
our.
though, right?
We
You know
don't want to
what?
be that close.
Talk to people like Parmananda, who's been playing guitar his whole life. Me and
Yeah.
him, and I've been standing in front of the amps, and then you got the monitors, and then the drums.
I don't think
you know
there's
how
a
loud
correlation.
drums are?
I don't
Huh?
think there's a correlation
Are you kidding?
to loud
You're
volumes
losing
and
your
earwax.
earring?
Mary, we're gonna no, not losing your hearing, but developing earwax.
No,
I don't think-
he's saying that
No.
a lot of earwax has protected his hearing over the years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't know if that works
Yeah,
either.
that's saying-
Well, I was thinking maybe in nature's magical way, it created extra earwax as a buffer. Because I tell you, the one time I did go to get my ears cleaned, they pulled out something.
Chunk.
It
We're
was
gonna-
a
you see-
stone. It was like a rifle shell. I
Okay.
was like, that was in my ear. There's sounds I've never heard. I started speaking to dolphins and fairies have been speaking
That
to
was
me.
too much information.
Well, anyway, it's a true story. And I think I'm ready. I've done it like 3 times in my life. I'm ready for number 4 now.
All right.
Moving on to announcements.
Yes. That was the first announcement. Okay, we're gonna have to be getting his ears clean.
I don't know how we. Oh, I ran into an ear cleaner today.
We're
That's how
also
we-
having body recovery meetings today.
Yeah. We have a shloka memorization group meeting with Nitin and Chandra at 10 a.m. And we have Bhakti recovery group meetings at 9:30 a.m., 11 a.m., and 12:30. The 11 a.m. meeting is actually not a non-recovery meeting. It's Japa Sadhu Sangha, Prabhupada's
okay.
teaching and Zen mind. And then
What is
tomorrow,
this? Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, what are these new thumbs up things? Are popping up all over the screen. This is like, are you seeing that?
No, I don't see it.
There, boom,
Uh,
right there. You see that?
No.
Nope.
There's a bubble with a
Maybe I
thumbs
gotta
up in it.
Nope.
Maybe we need to
maybe I
put the
gotta
news thing.
download the new
There's another one.
Zoom.
Everyone else sees it.
Everyone else sees it. Brenda
Uh-huh.
Gasu sees it.
Who's
We
doing
also
it?
have to I don't know.
Someone's very happy about stuff.
Yeah. I
So
think we-
tomorrow we have Anu Lawrence is teaching a postural yoga class for our Patreon members at 10 a.m.
He's a miracle worker.
Yeah.
Lawrence, check him out. And it's for Patreon members. If
he
you
could be
are
compared
Patreon
to
member,
a deli street ear cleaner with his.
He's much
expertise.
better.
he's a mystical healer of bodies. If you suffer from body issues, he deals with that in like real
Okay.
scientific yoga stuff. But I
Good
just want to say, I want to give thanks to all our Patreon members. Means a lot to us. Keeps the ball rolling. And if you have, thank you. And if you haven't, patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. If you want to contribute, it's a community supported podcast.
Let's
Are
get
we
into
doing
it.
a interview tomorrow or
Are
questions?
you
Uh,
doing an interview tomorrow, or am I? Because I can't be on the show.
Oh, hold it. Pulling
can be.
out, Robo.
I can't be. What are you
You
talking
can
about? We're
be.
flying tomorrow.
Not at
No, that's
5:30
Monday.
PM. We're going to the airport afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Monday we can't be on the show.
Monday we can't be on the show. There
That's
we go.
right. So we'll probably have Genevieve tomorrow.
Okay.
But she'll let me know
no
if
show
we
on
can do that Monday.
All right.
Or we'll
We're-
do Q&A tomorrow and have Genevieve on Monday. It'll be one of
Okay.
those two scenarios.
Genevieve
Okay, great.
Harrison.
Genevieve's coming soon.
New record
Mm.
out.
New record. I don't think anyone says that anymore, Kastuba.
They do.
Records.
Kastuba does.
Mhm. They do.
Kastuba just said it.
Kastuba's from 1970.
What do you say then? What do you
Four.
say?
They have a new
New
release.
Release? Yeah,
musical
but they say
release.
record. People still say record. It's recording.
Yeah. It's like this. It's like when people say Scotch tape. It's not necessarily Scotch tape is the brand. You know? Do you have any Scotch
don't.
tape? No, but I have, Staples version of adhesive tape. You understand my
Okay.
point?
Let's move on.
Okay, if you're listening to this on Facebook, welcome everybody. We do this every week, just every day. We just banter around and then we get to some serious stuff like the temporality of material existence and why I'm trying to think of millions, if not billions, of diversions to keep me from the inevitable reality that my time is ticking away and there's no one here that can save me except me. How do you get saved? Well, the yoga, the information on the yoga system gives you valuable clues to who you actually are and what to
Where are
do
you
with
going?
your life.
What are we talking
Yeah, it's
about?
true. What to do with your life, and it helps you escape this maze of material Maya.
Okay.
And so we
Let's
talk
take
about
some.
this every day. And today is Q&A day. And here's
Thank
some
you.
questions. This one's from Jorgen from the
I
Netherlands.
was thinking, why don't we hold on that? I was thinking, why don't we jump
Okay,
right into
Jordan.
this one from Aiden, which is like a heavy question, I think. Let's.
All right, I'm gonna get real serious. This is Aiden H. Hey,
Yeah,
Aiden.
Aiden H.
Hi, Watts. That's Wisdom,
Wisdom
of
of
the
the
Sages.
Sages. Yeah.
Acronym. I am writing to you for help and advice with relationships. My
Yeah.
question is this: how can I redirect the energy of someone who has been accustomed to abuse? Said another
A lot of
way,
abuse in the world, of
there's
different
oh
types.
my God. But
Don't get
yes,
depressed, but just throwing that
no,
out there.
it's just like it's abusive world. Said another way, how can we separate pleasure and pain so that we can attain true joy and love? What can I do to make someone understand love through spiritual lens?
Okay.
This is good stuff. I believe it possible to turn it around and make a change. What should I do? Thank you so much. Feel free to edit my question. It would make it more relatable for everyone on the show. If you can make it more relatable. Hope to get some of that wisdom. Thank you for sharing the lessons. Aiden.
Yes, I'm trying to understand this question. It sounds to me like Aiden has a person in their life that has experienced abuse. We don't know what type of abuse.
Sure.
And that's affected their openness in some way, right?
Well, oftentimes what happens is some transference to adult life. You get some type of abuse.
Well, the abuse may have been in adult life, for all we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oftentimes, and I'm no clinical therapist, although some people may think I am.
But they need therapy.
But if there's some abuse in childhood when we're most vulnerable, especially from people who are elders or those in the position of loving, then we transfer that to adult life. We've had abusive parents, so we look for abusive. We look for abusive people. We have absentee parents, so we look for people who are absent. We look for people who are emotionally shut down because that was our loving relationship as a child, and so there's a lot of personal work. The best thing we could do for our relationship is before we get into a relationship, do a lot of personal work on ourselves. If in fact we know that we've been through very, very tangible abuse, it's the best thing that we could do for our relationship is before a relationship. And the problem is before there's a relationship, there's no urgency to do that work. But it's the most important thing we could do, because if I don't do that very important work of working on myself before a relationship, then as soon as I get into the relationship, it will be that person that I'm in relationship with will suffer, will get the blood of my cut that is bleeding on. I'll start bleeding on the person that didn't cut me. I will blame them for my addiction problem, or my self-loathing, or my depression, or my constant anxiety of suspicion, fear of abandonment. I'll project it all on someone else. So working on our own mind. This is why this message of the Bhagavatam is so important. Working on my own mind changes how I see the entire world. You could have a person, and I've seen this happen in my own life. You can have a person, you can love them. You can tell them they're wonderful. You can support them financially, emotionally, everyone. They could still feel like nobody loves me. Your love isn't enough. And this person needs they'll never be enough for that person because they've never come to terms with themselves and come to terms with God. So can you work on them? Yeah. When you're in it, it's always harder to work on it. Just like it's easier to get out of debt before you get into a relationship.
Well, I don't think we should jump to the assumption that this is like a romantic relationship or something like that either. It seems like you're coming from that direction.
I think it's sort of okay. I am coming from that direction, but I still think it's the same. I think it's the same thing because
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard
certainly.
it's hard to love a person who doesn't love themselves, and that's why we sort of that's why our big work is a work on our own consciousness, our own mind.
Okay, can we go beyond that? Can aside from just telling Aiden, hey, work on yourself, is there more? I mean, I get the importance of that.
When you're dealing with a person with a lot of abuse, you also have to learn and that Bhakti Recovery Group is great for this. When are you loving, and when are you enabling a person? The classic of a parent who, quote, loves a child. You see, we throw this word love around very cheaply. I say, let Mara love your jumpsuit. Mara, love your sneakers. You know what I mean? That's love. But then we also have this. See, what we're talking about love is at the peak of the mountain. And we've made this word just like a megalithic word. It's not. There's so many nuances of love. And we're trying to get to the highest rung of that ladder. If I say I love you, Kostuba, you say, oh yeah, because what do you call it? I'm sick and I want you to take care of me. It's like, okay, well, I'm busy actually today. I can't really do that. I have a family. I can't. There's certain amounts of steps I won't take unless I actually genuinely have a direct love for you. So my point being is, where was I going with this, Mara? Because we talked about this at breakfast as well too. Jump in, Kostuba. Jump in.
Okay.
Jump into what I was saying instead of give me something else new. There's nuances of love. You're not sure where I was going with that?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, here's my thing. As you kind of from the beginning, I don't feel this question. I felt a hint of spirituality when it says, what can I do or say to make someone? And I was a little uncomfortable with that word, make someone. Yeah. I know your intention, Aiden, is really good, but it seemed to, what I caught there was perhaps, I don't want to read too deep into it, but perhaps the essence of my answer can lie right there. What can I say or do to make someone understand love through a spiritual lens? Maybe it should be, maybe a better way to phrase that might be like, what could I do to facilitate someone's understanding, to help someone find this on their own? And it's
that was a red flag question. That was a red flag question.
Well, that word was just a little concerning. So I went, you know what I did, Ronald? Because I'm not a professional in these kind of fields, I don't want to just try to dream about, there are people that are experienced with this.
Did you phone a friend?
Well, I didn't phone a friend, but I phoned a friend a long time ago. It was at the beginning of the year. I think it was New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We had two shows where they were based around Kelly Becker had a question. Do you remember that? Kelly Becker had a question.
Yeah.
That was about, she's a nurse and she was working with a person that woke up in the hospital, was not able to speak, was not able to communicate, and was there for months. They didn't, imagine that nightmare. Like you can't even talk to anyone and they're in there for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, that's scary.
And so we reached out to several experts. We reached out to Dunya, we reached out to Kula, who was on the show live, and we reached out to Ganesham. And so all professionals in the field. Now Ganesham is one thing that that Kula shared on that show was he talked about something called the Ministry of Presence. And he said that it's the core principle in chaplaincy, which means really people just need to know, like the most healing thing is just to know that there's someone there, that they're willing to listen and to understand them. Like so much
this
of the
is where I was going. This
Okay.
is where I was going.
So we hooked up.
Yeah, because I was saying that we don't want to be caught up in a codependent enabling situation where we're trying to fix them. We're not fixing them. We're not making them more spiritual. We can just be there for them, be present for them, hear from them. It's like a 12-step meeting. In a 12-step meeting, that's what you do. People want to share with you. I've called you a lot of times and say, Kostuba, please shut up. I just want to share. And you're like, well, here's some advice. And I say, no.
That's never happened.
That's never happened.
You're making this stuff. No.
I said, I just want to I just need to share and I'll be okay. I just need to be present for me. And
Okay.
I want you to know I'm there for you too, because sometimes,
you.
although you seem very
Just shut up and let me talk.
even keeled, although you seem very even keeled, I know there's a lot
I'm a
buried
mess.
there.
I'm a
and
complete mess.
I can help. Just
Okay.
I'll listen. I'll be there for you.
Then
Lean
just
on me.
listen to me now.
Go.
Okay. Now, another thing about that is one piece of advice that when dealing with victims of abuse is that they feel like they've had their power taken away from them, and therefore it's important that you give them the power back by encouraging them to just share what they feel they would like to share and trying to understand it, and allowing them to make their decisions, not to try to push them towards understanding something that you understand, right?
Yeah.
It really has a lot to do with hearing, and this is, it was so powerful what Ganesham shared that we did the show the next day on the same theme, and I took some notes from that. You ready?
Go.
And this is so nice. He of course deals with people that are on their deathbeds, that are about to die, and often they're in all kinds of painful mental states,
physical states, mental states, fear.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Internet, whatever. And but I felt that this could apply in Aiden's situation. I hope it might be helpful. So he said this. He said, listen to them, right? Listen to them.
Listen.
And ask yourself, what is the essence of their need right now? Right? What is the essence of their need? I think I know their need. Let me hear from them about the essence of their need. What is happening? And then he said this, what is happening behind their words? Even they may not be able to articulate it, but try to understand what their need are behind their words. What is most important to them right now? And once you've identified the heart of their suffering, interesting, right? The heart of their suffering, real the core of it, not the outer, where the suffering is really coming from. He says, once you've identified the heart of their suffering and the heart of their need, then and only then can you really speak to it. And then he shared this. He said, people are often stunned that they've been understood so deeply, and they can feel a healing gratitude to be seen and heard so well. So I think this might really speak to Aiden's thing. There's more to it, Raghunath. But if you'd like to respond to that, please go ahead.
I just want to jump there. This is one of these things which as devotees, we learn a verse and we quickly move on to our next verse to learn. But this is one of these things, Dadati Prati Grinati, the loving exchanges between Vaishnavas. And one of these big ones, which is a 12-step one, is sharing with somebody your heart in confidence. And that's important there. That can be in bold and in italics, in confidence. And what does that mean? It means I hold a private space for Kostuba if he wants to lean into me and share his deepest fears, anxieties, etc. I'm here for you.
Embarrassments.
I love embarrassments.
Humiliations.
You want to heal? Let it out. I'm here for you, baby. And you know what? I'm not going to go on the message board and say, oh my God, in private message people like, you should hear what he just said. It's
not unless you forget, but oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to share that.
I'm not supposed to share that.
was that part confidence as well?
It was all in confidence, huh? No, but you do that for a person, and that's how devotees relate. The whole 12-step program is based on this. That's why I call it anonymous. It's based on this principle. Like, I have a safe place to share with somebody else, or else I'm burying these emotions. Okay. And sometimes it's just that. It's just, I don't need you to play Mr. Doctor with me, play Doctor with me, or play Mr. Fix-It. I need you to just hear me for a second.
There you go.
And as
that in itself can be very healing, is what he was sharing.
It's incredibly healing.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I use everybody on this podcast for my own healing. People come up to me and say, Raghunath, I can't believe you're so vulnerable on the show. I was like, are you kidding? It's free therapy.
Okay.
Now you just don't tell anyone about it, or you're breaking our confidentiality. Okay, so that's the one in confidence. And of course, the converse is true. Then people share with you, and you got to hold their confidence, and vice versa, back and forth like that. Right. Now,
but but that's the key, is the hearing. We quote that verse from Rupa Goswami. The 6 loving exchanges, and 2 of the 6 are to reveal your mind in confidence, and then to hear someone reveal them, to hear them. So to really hear them, not just like hear with the ears, but as he's saying, and I think he articulated it so well, trying to hear from them about what is the heart of their suffering, what is their need right now. And they said people are often stunned that they've been heard and understood so deeply, and they can feel healing gratitude to be seen and heard so well. Okay, then he says a major part of the suffering is a feeling of loneliness and isolation, right? I'm suffering and nobody understands it. I'm suffering, I can't share it.
And even
He
that's
says,
a symptom. And that's a symptom, right? It's not it's not the essence. The essence is I'm in fear of something.
Okay.
What's the genesis of it? All right, you're sorry. Okay,
the heart, okay, he said, so, but if our words and our prayers display a true understanding of their pain and need, it may help to heal things a little and bring back faith. And I think this is going to where Aiden wanted to take it, and bring back faith and trust in goodness, love, meaning, i.e. faith in God. So he said, pray from what we have learned to be the essence of their need with all the personal details of what they are going through. If you can reflect back to a person in detail, personal detail, the essence of their need, the essence of their suffering, just hear it and bring it back to them, that can be tremendously healing and faith building. And they're often most deeply touched by this kind of response. So I think if you're that person for them, it's not that you have to try to direct them down a path. Just try to hear them out. You're a representative of spirituality to them. If the spiritual person in their life is the one that's that can hear them the most and understand them the most, then naturally that will increase help them see love through a spiritual lens, which is what Aiden was asking about. So to me, again, you and I, we're not professionals, but I think that's where you start,
Sure. I want to say that this one little concept too is what I feel like it lacked a little when we were growing up as brahmacharis. There was when we were, and I think that was part of maybe perhaps maybe it was either where I was or where we were, or it was ISKCON 1.0. But I think if we really want to change the society of Vaishnavas, we need to connect with people, not in a in a very vulnerable way, with a few, not the whole world, not like I do, with one person, with three people.
Okay.
With three people that I can share with. We need somewhere to go privately. Otherwise, what we have is we have a public persona, and then we have a secret persona, and all our buried bones, our hidden secrets, they manifest in some ugly way secretly, and we need to dig up those. We need to dig those up by sharing our heart with people, and that is the best way we can have a new ISKCON or Bhakti movement 2.0, whatever it is, whatever. It's not held even by an institution. Is a spiritual movement moving forward. That and again, it's not that I just blah 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 to everybody all over the world. It's often not helpful anyway. We need people who either can hold us there or has some understanding of the trauma that we've been through, and that's even special. And that's why even in a 12-step program, they'll have a one specifically for narcotics, one specifically for drugs, one specifically for sex addiction, one specifically for gambling. Why? Because no one knows that trauma or that pain more than someone who's been through it themselves. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a huge thing to further our spiritual life. And again, I'm proud of all the people that are doing Bhakti recovery. It's a huge contribution to the Bhakti movement. All glories to all you guys out there. And I think that's where we can direct Aiden too, because that codependent is well,
nobody said anything about codependent necessarily in this.
It can be, though, when you're trying to help someone and make them more spiritual or help them see things more spiritual. You have to find that line, is when I'm doing the work for a person who doesn't even want to do the work themselves. You
Okay.
know what I'm talking about? Maybe that's not his case. That's how I
Maybe.
read it.
Okay.
Maybe I'm reading.
Maybe you weren't listening enough, Raghunath.
I
Listen.
think you weren't listening. I think I heard you. Good. Why don't you listen to me for once? All right, what are we at? Now who do you want to do next?
Why don't we go back to
Suba?
the top now? We started Jorgen's. That's how you
Oh,
pronounce
this
it, right?
is Jorgen, and I want to thank everybody from Holland who's named Jorgen. And there's a lot of them, except for
We don't have
Quebec.
Jorgens like American.
We don't have Jorgen. We don't have any organs. I don't know one Jorgen in America. I know
We
about
need a few
11.
Jorgens. If you're American, consider naming your next kid Jorgen, even if it's a girl.
I know about 11 Jorgens in Holland.
Okay.
And furthermore,
Well, what's the
and
what?
you know what?
What would
Jorgen's
we
also a
say?
Swedish name too. I know a lot of Jorgens in Sweden.
What would is there like
I
a
think it's George.
George? Okay, Jorge,
George.
Jorgen, George. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Jorgen.
Jorge.
Okay. Would you like to read it? Or would you like me to read
Yeah,
it?
this is from Jorgen from the Netherlands. Dear wise souls of wisdom of the sages, please accept my most humble obeisances at your lotus-like feet. All right, so this guy's he's in the know already because that's how we greet
we
each
picked
other
up
when
a
we write
lot from that
letters.
right there, Jorgen. We
Yeah,
know where you're coming from.
He's been around
Thank
for a
you.
while.
Thank
Accept
you.
my humble obeisances.
Ours unto you and your feet as well.
And unto
Lotus-like
your
feet.
feet. While you were packing for India, I was visiting New York City for the first time.
I'll get
Totally
out
out of my comfort zone and
like
what
boats
I
in the
am used
night
to.
crossing.
Yeah, we just missed them. And what I'm used to at home compared to New York City, Amsterdam seems like a small village.
Yeah, New York's big.
A lot of cities do. Considering my own village, which is pretty tiny, there's some really tiny, charming villages in Holland. This was a huge step for me. I enjoyed the old buildings. There's no old. Are you kidding? Did you go to the same New York City? There's no old buildings in New York compared to Amsterdam. I've been in buildings in Amsterdam that are like from the times of Narottam Das Thakur, like 1500s. Anyway, totally out of my comfort zone of what I'm used to at home. Amsterdam, blah, blah. Okay, this was a huge step for me. I enjoyed old buildings as well as famous things known to me only from TV. I don't know. The West Village, you know,
Maybe that restaurant where the Seinfeld, they always showed the outside of
the
that
Chrysler
kind of
building.
Okay.
Is it Statue of Liberty?
Brooklyn Bridge.
I don't need. By the way, I've never been to the Statue of Liberty. Have you?
I have never been. New Yorkers don't go there.
New Yorkers don't go to the Statue of Liberty. I've never been there.
Never in my life. I mean, I've seen it a billion times, but I've never been in it or anything up on that island.
Yeah, I've been to the top of the
top of the rock.
No, World Trade. I've been to the top of the rock. Yes, I've been to the top of the World Empire State Building. You want to hear something crazy? You might know this, but I had a client.
You had a squirrel suit. Does it involve a squirrel suit?
This great client who used to do privates with me.
Oh, you told me, but I remember you.
Very nice lady,
yeah.
And she was a rock climber.
Okay,
I can mention her name, but she was a really good rock climber, and she was like, probably a little younger than me, but she was incredibly fit, and she loved doing like strong yoga. And then I said, "What do you do for a living?" Oh no! Then she showed. I said, "What do you do this weekend?" And she goes, "Oh, I went climbing." And she pulled out a photo on her iPhone, and she was climbing the steeple of the Empire State Building.
Get
I
out.
I said,
do that?
What? How did you get the permission to do that? What do you own the Empire State Building? And she goes, "No, but my husband does." I was like, "What? You can't own it." She's like, "Well, my father built it, and I own it, and my husband is on a team of people that own it. It's a privately owned building." And she gave me and my kids tickets to go on the express elevator on Christmas time. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Special privileges.
Interesting little story.
Very interesting. Back to Jorgen.
Sorry, Jorgen. In this age of technology, where everything goes with apps on your iPhone, I often get lost. If you ask for help, they refer to their app. So basically, you're forced to download.
Hold on, you skipped a whole part of the question, Raghunath.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I was in New York City the first time, totally out of my comfort zone, considering my own village, which is pretty tiny. This was a huge step for me. I enjoyed the buildings as well as the famous things known to me only from TV.
Okay, that's where you ended.
I don't need to tell you which ones, do I? Well, we just speculated.
We
So
tried.
now to the question. That
Okay.
was a long-winded intro. I thought you'd edit all that down.
No,
In
that
New
was
York
good
Ci-
stuff.
Okay. In New York City, almost everybody I saw was somewhat clinged to their phone.
Mm.
In this age of technology where everything goes with apps on your phone, I often get lost.
Yeah.
If you ask for help, they refer to their app. So basically, you're forced to download an app that I often do not understand. It's a good point. A lot to learn with there's like learn how to use this app. Learn how to use Canva and Facebook. And it's like, remember when all you had to learn was I learned carpentry, and that's good for life. I don't have to learn the new download for my phone, the new upgraded version of my phone. I don't have to relearn it. Okay. Of course, this is also a bit my own wrongdoing since I'm not that interested in them. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned since being 48 years of age, but often I just don't understand them. So, what is it that you do to keep up with the modern world and at the same time not get entangled in it too much? That's the question. That's the essential
Yes,
question.
that's the question.
Right there. How do you deal with the material world and not get entangled in it?
Whew, what you got? You want to start?
How do you do it?
I can't say that I'm entirely pulling that off. Often I do feel like I feel like my attention span has been profoundly affected by modern technology.
Yeah, yours has been hijacked, man.
Yeah, me. If I've been hijacked, you've been kidnapped, bound, thrown at the bottom of the ocean.
I try to use it in Christian service, but truthfully, I've been hijacked too. I've been carjacked by reels. Ask Mara. Yeah, she's like, I thought you were so spiritual. You are just a child. It's you know what? It's a little sad. It's like seeing a person as a drug addict. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. It is, and something must be done.
Something must be done. I feel like I stay away from really toxic content.
Okay. Mine is like a lot of animal attacks, a lot of landslides, a lot of car
That's pretty toxic. That's kind of toxic.
Well, it's not. I don't do anything sexual, things like that. I don't do anything like that. Those are very slippery slopes. I just like natural disasters. I like things like old ancient archaeology. I think that's very interesting. I like treasure hunters. You know, I like stuff. underground
I think
cities.
Political stuff you get a little caught up in, Ragnar. Sometimes I hear a little rant come out of you.
Car accidents, but I like underground cities, things like that. That fascinates me. I like history. I follow ones that have. Don't
just try to play this off as it's all just some kind of like you're some Discovery Channel guy.
I'm just educational. I'm just trying to be well rounded. That's where the devil tempts with half truths.
Okay. But I definitely feel this. I feel like from 10 years ago, I can't sit and read a book if I just sit down by myself and try to read a book, I have a harder time concentrating on it for a long period of time. And I try to adjust to that. I need strategies to adjust to that weakness that I have now in my ability to concentrate. So like I'll come up with different strategies of how to study. Like I'll study books for like 20 minutes at a time. Like I'll study one thing for 20 minutes and then shift over to another thing. That way I can keep going, otherwise sometimes I get lost. I'm much weaker. So I don't know if I have a good answer for this. We could say go cold turkey, get one of those phones that don't have any internet thing on them. Those things are out there. And I tell you what, I think most of us would benefit tremendously from doing that.
So Stuba being vulnerable himself. Thank you.
I'm just sharing.
I want your darkest.
I tell you, I see my wife. She's not caught up in it at all. Like she really she doesn't get in. She doesn't do any social media. She doesn't even have any desire to do it. So Jorgen, you got. I'm not going to tell you what you should do, but there are steps you could take. I would say that's a strong move. I'm going to go out and get one of those phones that don't have any internet on. Do you really need it? That could save you a lot a lot of trouble right there. Otherwise, there's got to be some level of discipline. There's got to be stuff that you got to pick up quick. Hey, I'm just wasting time here. What am I doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't come off on some moral pulpit, but I will say that if you're above 18 and you've got more than 2 video games on your phone, come on, guys. Life is short. We got to get off video games.
Video games, no
Those are
point in that.
no point in that.
It's
I mean,
almost.
there's no point in a lot of
I'll
this
tell you
stuff.
something,
It's all
and I don't say
It's
this.
all distractions. We're all about to die, Mr. Kostuba. We're
That's
all
true.
about to die, and we can't face that. We can't face how delicate our frame is, how delicate our body, how delicate anything, a disease, a car accident, attackers, terrorists. Everything's trying to kill us. Our own body, the elements, earthquakes. We don't realize how
You sound like you're reflecting all the stuff, the reels that you watch.
animals are attacking us. But my point is, our whole life is trying to distract us from the inevitable truth that we're going to die. So here I'm saying, and it's not just that, it's even the nice things like comedy is a distraction, or romance is a distraction. The real thing is, life is short. I'm going to die.
I got an answer.
Okay,
I got an answer for Jorgen. No, I love where you're going, Jorgen. It's inspired me. What you need, Jorgen, you need a buddy. You need a partner that's going to take your mind to the good side. I'll tell you something. I'm living with Taradas right now, right?
Yeah.
This guy
Very
has
sober man. Very sober man.
Very good man. He's got 3 times in a day. He's got reading groups that he tunes into and reads with him online, right? Like in a Zoom group. Some of them are like only a half hour long, right? He breaks up his day and he sticks that stuff in there. And this is the deal. When you do that, when you make that move, you start to get a taste for it. And when you get that taste, you start to let go of the lower taste. Padam dristva nirvartate. And we're going to Bhagavad Gita here, right? That when you may try to restrict yourself, but unless you develop a higher taste, you don't really let go. Where do we find that taste? Read Bhagavatam together. Read Krishna book together, right? Read Bhagavad Gita together. Get yourself in 3 different reading groups per day, and you're going to let go a lot of that social media stuff. And
I'm going to throw in some extra stuff, Kostuba.
All right.
Because I came up with this for myself.
Okay.
I need to spend more time outside. I need to spend more time
Very important.
sleeping outside. I'm serious, sleeping outside.
Okay.
It affects me. Phoneless outside.
Wintertime?
And not just like, okay, here's a picture of me outside, post that. Here's me. Building fires. It changes
nature.
Being out.
Okay, you're going with nature. Good point.
Going with nature. You know why? Because there's a slowness that comes with nature. Mara said, I said, this is my commitment this year. Mara said, and I said gardening. This is the year I'm going to garden more. And Mara said, I can't explain it. I don't understand it, but there's something so powerfully grounding about having your hands in the earth.
In the earth. Moving those rocks. That was just the start of this year.
That stone wall, man. That was therapy. I can help you. I can help you with their secrets, Kostuba. You come.
Okay, so I think Jorgen.
Serious.
But no, yeah, where we're going right now, just spontaneously we went there, is part of the answer to this. I think there's got to be some discipline. And Jorgen, you're going to have to be the one to decide what rules you're going to set about how much time you spend on apps or online and all of that. But beyond that, there's another way to look at it. Divert yourself from this. We look at the phone as a diversion. Divert yourself from the phone by putting in, get yourself partners that like to read this stuff, that you can commune with on this level. Join a sage group,
Right.
That's another thing you can do. And get out in nature, right? Spend quality time in nature in a Krishna conscious context, right? All the better. And and hopefully in this way you start to develop a taste for that. And then one day you're scrolling and you're saying, what the hell am I doing? Why am I reading this garbage? This is garbage. And I've done it again and again and again. I don't need it. And then you'll just on your own, you'll just be like, puh, like that, right? You're just like, I lost the taste for it.
Yeah. You're right. I think the real point is you got to get that higher. You got to get a taste for the higher taste.
You gotta get a taste for the higher. That's
We're
our
all
theme for today.
we
Get a
are
taste for the
all
higher taste.
addicted to distractions, and whether it is it is reels or little videos or YouTube, going down the YouTube rabbit holes at like midnight, whether it's that or just the distractions of the material world. Even if it's like something like romance, you can be addicted to love. Like somebody out there will fix me and make me whole. No, they're not going to make you whole. There's no place. There's no financial, measurement you're going to get to where you're going to feel like, now I'm done. There's no amount of stuff, whatever it is that you're collecting. Well, now it's complete. There's no amount of fame with your band that will get you there. There's no amount of kids or if I had a family, then it'd be all. No, first we need to find connection. We need to find connection with source. And then all the other stuff will come into place. That is the main thing. That's the main thing we talk about a lot. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, we got 10 minutes left.
Oh, we got this, buddy. We got this. Huh? Facebook users, you can find us wherever you get podcasts.
That was like a little plug in the middle of the thing. You're doing that.
Like that. I just plugged it right in the middle.
I've done that before.
Plugged it right in the middle. Okay.
Questions. Well, should we? It was a little bit of a long question, but it's here from Jacob Brown in Texas.
Jacob.
This was a question for me, Raghunath, but you're welcome to pipe in on it too.
I'll read it. Oh yeah, because you know everything and I know nothing.
I didn't. I'm not the one.
That's okay, Jacob. Whatever, you believe in him.
No, Jacob.
What do I know? I'm just a dumb old rock guy, rock and roll guy. Stu is the real smart, wise one. I'm just the buffoon. Okay, we love you.
Let's hear the question from Jacob.
Okay, this is this. All right, Jacob. Dear Prabhus, hi. Thank you so much for continuing your service and daily dose of wisdom in my life and thousands of others. I look so forward to hearing the podcast, and my life has absolutely changed since I began practicing bhakti about 1.5 years ago. I have written in the question, but it has also been a while. My name is Jacob. I'm from Texas, and I'm a binger.
Binger.
Oh, a binger. A binger. a binger other. I like bingers. I think I'm a binger too. Currently on episode 679.
Okay, long way to go.
It's exciting when people get into it and they're like,
I'm binging out.
I'm gonna catch up with everybody. Like, especially if you're gonna like paint the house or something, or go for walks or drive a lot for work. Binge listen to wisdom, whether it's wisdom of the sages or lectures or your flight is delayed. Binge wisdom. Okay. I have a question for Kastuba because he's wiser than Raghunath. Regarding Brahman
he didn't say that.
Paramatma. He didn't say that? Okay. Regarding Brahman and Paramatma, I have learned that Krishna is realized in 3 aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. I know that Bhagavan refers to Krishna himself as the original personality and the ultimate form of God, and that Paramatma refers to the supersoul, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, God within the heart. Our soul's guide, witness, and friend.
Okay.
Good. And I know that Brahman refers to Brahmajyoti, or the effulgence of divine light, emanating ultimately from Krishna. My question is in regards to the Brahman feature of God, or his effulgence.
Okay.
I understand that this divine light is omnipresent, right? And is all pervasive, and an impersonal feature of God. I'm wondering if there is any other information on that nature or function of this feature of God. I suppose I should be exclusively focused on Bhagavan, but I can't help but wonder about this divine light and what it's all about. Also, why is it impersonal? If God is absolute and fully potent, wouldn't even his transcendental luster be part of him and also absolute? Any other information would be much appreciated. You want to? And he's got a second question, but why don't you go on that first one first? First things first,
Okay.
Mr. Stuba.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, he referred to, well, I mean, it's talked about in many places, but let's say the most important verse on this subject, or most prominent verse, would be the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, text number 11, right? Vedanti tat tatvad vidas, tatvam yajgyanam advayam, brahmeti paramatmeti, bhagavan iti shabjate. That learned transcendentalists, and this goes to the heart, or at least a part of his question.
Yeah.
Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance, and that word non-dual right there, meaning because it means that it's distinct, but it's still all Krishna, right? And it's still all Krishna's spiritual energy. So learned transcendentalists who know the absolute call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And it's kind of like three aspects of all part of one divine person. But well, I'm going to read just the bit. I would look at two places that are great places to start. The commentary to Bhagavatam 1-11, which is, I'm going to read part of it now, and the commentary to Bhagavad Gita 14:27 is another place. Maybe read a little bit of that. But let's hear what Srila Prabhupada says. This is from that from the Bhagavatam verse that we just read. The absolute truth, he says, is both subject and object, and there's no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. They're all made of pure spirit, right? And the same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. So that's saying that here's God, and he's not so limited that it's like he can only be known in one way. What if I'm not open to knowing him in certain ways? Then you could know him in the ways that you're open to. Maybe I'm not open to knowing God as a person. Then you can know the spiritual energy of God and exist in it, feel it, experience it. And that's called Brahman realization, right? So he said, I'll read that again. The same substance, same one substance, is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead, is the last word of the absolute truth. Paramatma is a partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead, as the sun's rays are to the sun god. Less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization, right? Brahman realization is the highest, right? But those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the above three features of the one absolute truth are different perspectives seen from different angles of vision. Different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. Okay, so I think it might be helpful at this stage, not when you think of the Brahman, don't necessarily, you don't have to think of the glowing effulgence like that, but think that I've lost interest in the illusory world. I want pure spirit. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not ready for personal God, then that is not going to be revealed to me. If that's not what I want, that's not what I'm going to get. But I could experience my eternality. I could experience relief from the influence of the modes of material nature and exist in a state of spiritual peace. Then we call that Brahman realization, right? You're resting in God's superior energy, not his inferior energy, which is illusory and covers you. You're resting and experiencing God as his energy and enjoying the peace and the relief of that. There's a satisfaction in that, a certain level of satisfaction. That's Brahman realization. When you get to Paramatma, if you have Paramatma realization, if you realize God is in your heart, you already have Brahman realization. You're already there. And if you realize Krishna, the person, Bhagavan, then you have the other as well. because it's all complete in him. Did you want to say something, Raghunath? I saw you kicking in there.
Well, I got an interesting story for you.
Does it have anything to do with this topic?
Exactly.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, there is a person that you know, but we don't know him personally, but you'll know him once I tell the story. But I'm not going to mention any names. Got into Krishna consciousness. Actually got into yoga when he was a young man, teenager.
Yeah.
And left high school, and he was like a renunciate. This is like in the 60s. And it must have been something from a previous life, because something triggered him, and he became a guru when he was like 22. And
I know who you're talking about.
Okay. He had the ability to leave his body at will. His subtle body could leave his body, and he just would collapse, and he couldn't people had to take care of his body. His students had to take care of his body. And he'd actually emanate some type of Shakti from his body if you touched his body.
Hold on, maybe I don't know who you're talking about.
That's serious. Is it a true story? I got firsthand experience about this story. Or second
First-hand? No, second-hand.
Second, but from a person who's very close with this person. So anyway.
That's called second-hand. No matter how close you are to the other person, it's still second-hand.
Listen up.
Right.
So this person had lots of, this person was they call it Kundalini. It's not what we know as Kundalini, but he had some type of cities, and he was sort of in this, quote, mukti. Now, when we read these books on mukti about liberation, freedom from pain, a lot of us read these things. It's just like, what is Prabhupada talking about? Brahman Jyoti, even this question, Brahman realization, bhakti. It's like, okay, what is? So anyway, this guy was experiencing all that is delivered in this Brahman realization, including some cities, and he got one of Prabhupada's books. And he read it, and he started to think, oh, that's where I am. That's what I do. That's what's going on with me. And there's something higher than that. Prabhupada's pointing out something higher, a loving relationship. It's not just about escape the pain of existence. It's not just about leaving your body, going to higher realms of existence. There is something higher in bhakti through intimate loving exchanges. And so after having these, I think he had 2 ashrams, he called all his disciples together, and he said, or students, whatever you want to call them, he said, I've taught you as much as I can teach you. If you want to continue with this practice, because he lived it was very regulated and very staunch, and it wasn't just whimsical yogic stuff. It was they followed a lot of this similar rules about self-control and abstinence. And he said, I've taught you everything you need to know, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm giving my life to Bhaktivedanta Swami, and if you want to come with me, you can. And
how many came?
I think like 50 people came, and Prabhupada initiated them all.
Whoa.
Pretty amazing.
Okay.
And I know people who went with him.
Well, you see, that's interesting, because there are, and now this next purport I'm going to read, Prabhupada starts to give some examples of how that's happened in the ancient texts, right?
Right.
That people can progress those stages. Let's read a little bit of this. This is from text
33. I didn't realize this, but we're in 33 right now.
All right, let's read a little bit more. We'll go a little over.
Okay.
You down?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So text Bhagavad Gita 14:27. I am the base, Krishna is saying, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness, right? Happiness begins when you're entirely detached from the material energy. That's it can go into deeper and deeper levels of personal love and a higher bliss, but the basis of it is complete freedom from the material influence.
Sure.
So Prabhupada writes, the constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Okay. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle, the second stage in transcendental realization. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. Right? Just if we every sentence is relatively is deep. It is explained in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. Right, the material
amazing.
Energy.
That's inferior.
inferior.
Like the beauty of
It's
like
not
the banyan
conscious. It's not
tree.
eternal. Right? It's
Right.
always shifting. The Lord impregnates the
I love that.
inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature. That means us, right? Like us souls are impregnated and we take on a material body. Right. So the Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature, the souls, and that is the spiritual touch in material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, they elevate themselves from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage of self-realization. I'm not my body. I'm free from all material designations, false designations. I'm free from desires to enjoy the material energy because I know it has nothing to do with me. It's all based on misconception. That's the first stage of self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he's not actually perfect in Brahman realization because it's not yet complete, right? If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, and then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. So this is, this is the when we're completely, if one is completely free from the influence of the modes of material nature, they may exist in a state of blissful peace, but they still haven't achieved divine love.
Right.
And that's understood through Bhagavan. Right?
So, we hear these stories like the four Kumaras, but that's why I wanted to share my story. These are real things. It's not just something
things.
you read in a book that happened millennia ago. They're real things.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's the show today, man.
Okay.
But his second half of the question, I think we should answer as soon as we
come back to it.
Okay. Let's come back to the second half of his question. It was a good question.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down.
What do you think about that? Leaving my body. Imagine if I just left my body and just like, Mara, take care of his body, Mara. He's traveling to other higher planets again. Yeah, Raghu just left this and touch it.
We can do all kind of things to that body while you're out of it.
What's that?
We can do all kind of things to it while you're out of it.
Go through my wallet, do other types of pranks to me.
Clean your ears out.
Put like a whipped cream on my hands. When I wake up, I scratch my head. Never do that to
pranks.
Prank the yogi who's left his body.
Oh, that's what they do. They put your hand in warm water. That was a prank.
Warm
right?
water, and then you put hand. Yeah, and
then you wet the bed or something. Is that how it's?
You put whipped cream in their hand. You tickle their nose with a feather, and then they scratch their face. There is the warm water one. I don't think it ever works.
I feel like your kids have probably tried that. Your kids are always
my kids have tried all of those things. My kids are very into pranks.
I wonder where they got that from. Parmananda knows about the pranks. Parmananda has been pranked by Raghunath. Yes, we all know the story about his brother that was you were pranking him, saying that your brother could tell when people are about to die, had mystic insights. That one?
I set him up. That was. I should have a whole show of the pranks that I pulled on Parmananda. Oh, Krishna. So, Stuba, that was a good show today.
All right, thank you, Raghunath.
And we're out for another exciting night in the town, me and Mara.
You going out now?
Yes, we're going out.
Where are you going at this time of night?
We're going for a late night stroll.
Temple?
Shop a walk around Connaught Place.